Gilly, midwife, single mother, explorer, adventurer, self-sufficient, an inspiration. See for yourself.
Did you know that if you're pregnant, you're allowed to pee in a policeman's helmet?
I didn't know that. What happens if you're 60?
I think you'd be arrested.
Gilly, you've just come off a night shift.
Yes. Work as a midwife.
Midwife?
Midwife in a local hospital, working a 12.5-hour shift on labour ward, but a lovely birth.
A lovely birth last night.
Beautiful birth.
Beautiful birth.
Just turned 51.
Just 51?
51.
Amazing.
Yes.
Now, I've always watched you of a winter.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to say.
I know, to say no coat. No coat.
You don't wear a coat?
I don't, and it sounds bonkers, but it's well, I guess maybe it is. My issue was, a few years back, we had an awful winter that seemed to go on forever. We were still wearing coats in May, and kind of autumn came around, and then the subsequent winter, I kept thinking, well, I'll just go another week without a coat, because I don't want to just have 5 months of a year not wearing a coat. And it kind of went on, and I managed to get through a winter without a coat, and then it's almost become a bit of an obsession.
So, Gilly, when you turned 50, what did you do? Did you have a party?
No. Decided to go travelling, so it's me time.
Where did you go?
New Zealand and Canada.
Amazing!
Visit my sisters I haven't seen for... My sister in New Zealand I hadn't seen for 4 years. My sister in Canada I hadn't seen for 7 years. You can make choices, and you're not relying on other people to be telling you what you need to do. My sisters and I, we owned the babysitting circle in our local area. I was 12 when I started babysitting and would have my regulars, and then into nursing, and I've worked ever since. I wanted to be a midwife, so although you can do direct entry, it just seemed logical to do nursing first, start for a year, go into midwifery, although I had the little blip because I had my son 4 weeks after I finished my training as a nurse. I still went back to work when he was 6 weeks old, doing 2 days a week. I've always worked. I've never, even from a maternity point of view. I've been invited to join my friend, so we're going to go to Thailand and Kuala Lumpur. I work with a great group of women and from across the globe, and if anybody offers me a holiday to visit their homeland, I am 100% active in saying yes. When I went to Malaysia previously with some girls from work, she said afterwards that she couldn't believe how I just knuckled down and ate everything that was provided for me. I didn't kind of say I didn't eat anything that they provided for me. And the only cooking we did was flicking the kettle on to make a cup of tea in the morning. We ate street food all the time.
Amazing!
Which is brilliant. I've always suffered from migraines. I think even as a child I used to suffer from migraines. I remember having this terrible pain and having to lie down and feel very nauseous. They kicked up big time when I was 16, waiting for my O-level results. That's how old I am. They got worse and they got better, but now I'm of my age that I am, they are becoming worse again. Two incidents that are quite funny now because I'm no longer having that migraine that I was suffering at the time. I'd been to a wedding and had to come back and do a night shift. The wedding started very late. The reception at the end started very late, and hadn't had anything to eat or drink for the duration of the day. Got driven back to work to start my night shift, and because I was kind of dry and dehydrated, developed this terrible migraine on the car journey back. Got to work, vomited. I said to my manager on labour ward that night, I was feeling very sick. And she said to me automatically, have you been drinking? Now, if I was about 10 years younger, she would have said, are you pregnant? And there was just this kind of age kind of difference prior, particularly being midwives. Anybody who's unwell with nausea and vomiting, we automatically assume that they're pregnant. But because obviously people are thinking, no way now for Gilly, I must have been drinking. so it kind of made me laugh, made me sad as well. In the summer last year, I went to stay with my friend in Devon. We trained as nurses together, so we've been friends for 32 years. We'd been to a cemetery because it was the anniversary of her cousin's death. and I'd given her a tissue to clean the headstone, and then wasn't feeling well, and this migraine kind of took hold again. So we're trying to get back to her place, and I have to say, stop the car, I'm going to vomit. So got out, was rather sick. And then we're frantically trying to find a tissue in the car. We couldn't find any tissues in the car at all. So the only implement we had was an Always Ultra that I had to clean myself up after that. You cannot blow your nose on an Always Ultra.
Which is a panty lining.
Yes.
I've never tried to blow my nose on Always.
You can't. I always say to my son, if I become old, infirm, need help, don't worry about looking after me. Just put me in the room, feed me gruel. I'll either survive or I won't. You know, just.
I didn't even know how you make gruel nowadays.
You can look it up on the internet.
Exactly.
When I travelled to New Zealand, I did a little bit of a journey on the South Island on my own, just visiting places that I wanted to see, and ended up in Christchurch, staying in this beautiful bed and breakfast villa. And in the morning, all the residents would kind of sit at a table together for breakfast. And this woman was asking me if I was travelling alone, and I said yes. And she was quite astounded and said, "Oh, how could I do it? Was it not worrisome?" And I thought, but why should I not travel on my own being a woman? Because I don't think she possibly would have made comments like that if I was a man travelling on my own. My last night in Christchurch, I thought, I'm going to go to this French restaurant, and normally I would have sat with my back to the restaurant, but I thought, no, I'm going to sit and look into the restaurant. And I had my book with me, because then if you hide your face in the book, you're okay. But I thought, no, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to people watch, and I don't care if people see that I'm on my own. As women, we can go and eat on our own. We can go to cinema on our own. Why should we not? So I want to walk to the moon, but if you walk 10,000 steps a day, it's going to take 130 years to walk to the moon. I haven't got that much time left on this world. So what I'm aiming for is to walk the equator, which is going to take me 17 years at 10,000 steps a day. But when I die, I'm going to leave my steps, because I record every day how many steps I've walked. I'm going to leave my steps to my grandchildren when my son finally gives me grandchildren, and they can continue my journey to the moon. Live for the moment. You're born to die. You might as well live.